Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel here. And what an epic qualifying it's been again today for Formula 1. Wow, so cool. And like up until the last moment you just did not know who was going to get that pole position. So let me just cover the results quickly for you. So Leclerc on pole, 2/10 behind Lewis, 2/10 behind, same time, similar time to Lewis is Vettel. So Leclerc, Lewis, Vettel. Fourth was Verstappen, 6/10 behind. Then came Bottas, who was 9/10 behind. Then came Albon, 1.2 seconds behind. Sainz, Ricciardo, Hülkenberg and Norris. So that rounded up the top 10, and up until the very end, my goodness, that was absolutely awesome out there, so close. And in Q3 it was Vettel who came out first and did an amazing lap time, so just goes to show, you know, how he can bounce back any moment. He has a lot of self-confidence, driving brilliantly again out there, so he put in an awesome time. But as he said in his post interview, he just peaked too early maybe, because then in the last run in Q3, when the track ramps up, and that's when you need to really do your time for a chance on pole position, he messed up. He had a couple of slides, especially in the last sector. He had a big slide there and just then gave up on the lap because he was down. And then here comes Leclerc again, and this is the mental game today. Leclerc is coming off 2 wins. He's like in his first season, so there's still no real pressure. And he just absolutely made the most of that, and the mental game helped him so much, because he's proven to himself now that he can beat anybody in F1 and that he can be the best driver in F1, could be in the future, whatever. So it just gives so much confidence once you get those 2 wins out of the way, the first 2 wins in F1. And then, wow, so he puts in another pole position there in the very end, and he had like 3/10 that he had to make up there to get on that pole. So he was put in an epic lap there, really, really impressive. Hats off. I mean, what a run he's having at the moment in that Ferrari. Really, really brilliant stuff. And that comes to the next point, that the Ferrari car, so they brought these upgrades to Singapore, because Singapore was like going to be one of the worst tracks for Ferrari. Nobody would have put money on them to be on pole position or even near pole position. And so they brought upgrades, big upgrade to the front end, and this is what I was always talking about during the season in all my reviews, that Ferrari has this problem that they can't, they don't have enough downforce in the car, particularly on the front end, but they can't just ramp up the front wing, because it kills the airflow to the back of the car, and you just kill the rear end, and then as a sum, you just lose out. So they were completely limited, and it's like the fundamental concept. So it takes months and months and months and months for you to redevelop something like that. And it seems that finally they've managed to do it, which is a big, big step for them. Managed to pack on more downforce in a beneficial way. So they've got this new front wing and new stuff under the nose cone and things like that, combined with some new stuff on the floor and everything. And so it seems that they can pack on a lot more front downforce now, and downforce generally, without losing as much like rear performance and things like that. And also without, so in overall, it seems to be a big step forward, and that's the big challenge. And so they've achieved that. So hats off there to the technical development team, how fast they've managed to bring that in. Unbelievable. I mean, because to be the fastest on this track was definitely not to be expected. It's absolutely a Mercedes track and maybe a Red Bull track. To beat all of those, awesome job. And both drivers, you know, and Vettel, we got to say as well, was really driving well out there. And so, and the good thing about F1 is it only takes 1 pole position and 1 race win to turn everything around, and to put everything that's in the that just happened in the past again. So Vettel, you know, don't count him out. He's going to be back with a bang very, very soon. He almost managed today, and if not, he'll manage the next race. So that's going to be great to follow. And then Leclerc, 5 pole positions now this year in 2019. So he has more pole positions than anybody else, because both Hamilton and Bottas have 4 pole positions only. Leclerc 5, first Ferrari year, you know, second year in F1. Epic job, really, massively impressive. So it really seems that he and Verstappen at the moment are like the future of F1 currently, which of course is looking good for F1 then, if it's those two battling it out one day. Also for Hamilton then, I mean, Hamilton having only 4 pole positions, it's his worst pole position tally since like 2011. So really, yeah, seems to be definitely one of the weaker seasons. I mean, weaker is always relative, huh? But qualifying doesn't seem as strong this year for him personally, as it has been in most of the other years, which is what I was saying, that it seems to be that he's dipping a little bit in the qualifying form, tiny bit, but definitely making it up massively then in racing, where he's just at his best ever, I think, in terms of racing, starting and all that. But that will be interesting to follow that, how his qualifying continues this year. Anyway, so Leclerc has the best chances for the race tomorrow, but only because it's difficult to overtake on this track. Because if you look at Friday running for the long runs, Ferrari was quite a long way off Mercedes pace, like up to half a second per lap, which is huge. And they also have a lot more degradation still, as we know. Maybe this aero package will help that a lot, so we need to wait and see. But still, they will. I mean, Lewis is going to be flying in the race tomorrow. So it's going to be very, very hard for Leclerc if you manage to get him at the start or to stay in front of the race. Also with strategy and everything, how that's going to pan out. Of course, having two Ferraris there this time is going to help them, because then they can like kind of compromise Vettel strategy-wise to put pressure on Lewis and then give Leclerc the best one or whatever. And so that's always very, very powerful when a team has two cars against one car. In this case, Ferrari two cars, Mercedes just one car at the front there, because it's Verstappen fourth. So that's that plays into the hands of Ferrari, but Lewis's pace is going to be insane, just that you can't really get past. So let's see what's going to happen there, how much pressure you can put on Leclerc and maybe try and get him with a strategy. And Lewis again as well, we also got to compliment, even though I said it's not his best season in qualifying and he seems to have a little bit of a dip in qualifying form in general. Nonetheless, I mean, still he did an absolutely amazing job in this qualifying Q3, because if you look where Bottas is, like he beat Bottas by 0.7 of a second and just pull out this magic lap in the end there. It was pretty phenomenal from Lewis. So still, of course, all relative, still great job from Lewis there. And then Bottas had a bit of a struggle, tough one. Verstappen in fourth, I think, got the maximum out of the car, as he always does this year. He's driving brilliantly. And then here's an interesting one, like if you look at Albon is 6/10 behind. And then in the Toro Rosso, Gasly is beating Kvyat, and we know that Kvyat is a really good driver. So I think all of this just goes to show what an unbelievable speed Verstappen has at the moment. That none of these talented guys like Gasly or Albon or anybody can get close to him in the same car. I think we're really starting to see how special he is at the moment, and how incredibly well he's driving in that Red Bull car. So of course, good luck to Albon. He needs to get a bit closer than that, I think, to keep his seat. I think if he's 3/10 away on average, that would be enough to keep his seat for next year. But so he still needs to have some work cut out to do that. Behind that, Sainz, epic season from him. I mean, he's just crapping up so many points all the time, getting the maximum points from his McLaren. Really fantastic job he's done. Even though in pure speed wise it's like pretty close between Norris or Sainz, probably even Norris a little bit better, even though it's his first season. So but still, Sainz getting those points in, amazing. Daniel Ricciardo, we got to say again, first of all, come on, we want to see him in a great car again, hopefully very soon. Not good to see him in such a quite far back all the time, even though in Monza, of course, it was a great result, but still that Renault is miles off the pace. I mean, 1.8 seconds from pole position is just huge. Hopefully he can be in a good car again soon. I'm sure there'll be some options, because he's proving that he's one of the best drivers out there all the time, because up against Hülkenberg, and Hülkenberg is an awesome driver, but no chance against Ricciardo at the moment. Again, 2/10 in qualifying this time, so incredible how Ricciardo is just dominating Hülkenberg, and and then that's it. Then Hülkenberg in the end, tough, really tough for him to lose out at the moment on these race seats, and possibly be looking at a Formula 1 exit, end of career for Formula 1. It's actually incredible, because he's such a talented guy. What I've often heard as in the paddock from like team bosses and things is that his weakness is this emotional intelligence and kind of social intelligence, which you also need to have success in F1. You need to be good with your team. You need to be good with the team bosses, with the engineers. You need to understand how to be a team and motivate a team and act powerfully within a team. And I've always heard from team bosses that kind of seems to be a weakness for him. And so maybe that's a reason as well why maybe his career has definitely not turned out as successfully as all of us would have thought. We're looking at his pre-Formula 1 career, or even first year then in F1 with that incredible pole position. We all would have thought that he would have definitely been winning races and everything in F1, so that might be the reason. Anyways, still definitely deserves to be in F1, so I hope he does find something. There's still Williams as an option, I think. Alpha is a little bit of an option. Red Bull is a tiny option. Let's see. Wish him all the best anyways. That's it from me then. So I hope it was interesting for you again, this review. I hope you all check out the race, and we'll have an exciting race tomorrow. So what's my prediction for the race? Boy, that's a hard one. I still think Leclerc is going to get it tomorrow, because Hamilton will be so damn fast, but I don't think he'll be able to do it and get past. And I think with strategy they should be okay. but it's going to be on the edge as always, huh? As in the as in Monza, for example, where Lewis puts the pressure on. And what's going to be fun to watch though is that this time Lewis is going to play harder. So and if you don't want to have Lewis playing harder when you're up against him, I can tell you that, because normally you're going to be on the losing end of that side. So anyways, we can look forward to that. Then I think second is going to be Lewis and third is going to be Vettel. Yeah, I think that's the order that it's going to come down to. So tune in again tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Subscribe to make sure to catch my review from tomorrow when that goes live. Bye bye.